So we are slowly approaching that time of year where students are returning to campus, and we are also seeing a decent amount of videos on YouTube talking about the back to school tech that you should pick up. And while some of these channels can actually show you a lot of this tech that they're talking about, there are a decent amount of students who probably can't really afford this kind of tech that they're showing. Like if they tell you to buy a new MacBook, not everyone can afford a new MacBook. So I wanted to give my take on this type of back to school tech theme, and do one in a different style, as like maybe some items are a bit of a budget item, but also some things that may be more useful than other things. And it's of course dependent on what kind of student you are. Now, if you are someone who wants to use a laptop, for the most part you're going to need a laptop in college, whether you're a new coming freshman or you're a returning upperclassman. You are going to want a laptop to use. And I can't really recommend any good laptops, not because I don't want to recommend a good one or I think laptops are not useful, but because I don't personally use one. And if I had to recommend a laptop, it's probably going to be either one of the newer MacBooks. A buddy of mine, Film Cubano, just recently picked up a new MacBook. I don't remember if he got the new Air or if he got the new Pro, but his last MacBook was a lot older and it finally died on him, so he decided to get a new one. And you can of course go to Apple's website and Best Buy's website and compare all the specs and the prices, but for someone who may not be able to afford a Mac, you might want to go with a cheaper option like an iPad. Now, here's the problem with that option though. If you take a look at like an iPad Pro and you go and buy a keyboard, whether you get the Apple Magic Keyboard or the cheaper Logitech one that does have more case protection, keep that in mind, you are going to end up paying a similar amount of money for this compared to a MacBook. And if the price for, an iPad Pro or another one of the iPads with a compatible keyboard and an Apple Pencil, you might be better off buying just a MacBook for that price anyway, because it's going to do a lot more than what the iPad can do. But if you are looking to do art classes and draw on the iPad, if the school allows it, because a lot of schools tend to not let you do that, they rather you create on paper. Unless you are a graphic designer, then that's a different story. They might have you use one of their programs, and they have these Wacom tablets they make you buy. But in that aspect, you might want to go with a MacBook over an iPad, just for that reason. But if you wanted something a lot more cheaper and lightweight, and you're not too worried about the whole laptop thing, then of course another iPad like the Mini, or one of the there's another iPad, I think one of the Airs are around a cheaper price and not as heavy as the Pro. And I think the other one they made was like a generic iPad with the home button on it. That one is about $300 and something. It's like the cheapest one. That's still pretty good for basic use like notes, or if you have your textbooks as a digital format. When I was in college, they did have that option, but it was pretty limited, and the softwares or whatever feature they use was really crappy. So it's got to be better by now, because this is me starting college like 10 or so years ago. Man, I'm old. So you might want to consider using a tablet. I don't really recommend newer or any Samsung tablet. Maybe the newer ones, possibly. They do have the S Pen included and other different things about it. I remember I used to have a Samsung tablet before I got my iPad Pro, and I didn't really like the tablet. I might have done a video on it way back in the day, probably not. But the S Pen had a problem because there was a button on it that you would always press when you don't want to, and then the keyboard itself had an adhesive, so if you peel it off too many times, you're just wasting your money on the keyboard. So if you are an Android user and you'd rather use a Samsung tablet, I think the newer ones are probably decent. But in my opinion, and possibly other YouTuber opinions, tablets don't really come comparable to iPad and Apple, unfortunately, if you're not an Apple user. But like I said, I love my iPads. You can get a lot of great use out of these, even with the pencil. If you, like I said, you're a graphic designer and you want to draw on this. I'm currently doing some tracing work, not so much of me freehanding it, just so tracing the picture. And I'm just trying to get the basics of sketching on my free time as a hobby. It's not really a goal of mine. It's more of a hobby to relax and everything. But that's what you probably want to do for a device, especially for note taking and studying. Now, I know some professors out there do have their rule of no laptop or tablet or whatever. At least in my school, they would say that, but they weren't really as serious about it. I don't think a professor has the right to tell you not to use these devices when if that's what's beneficial to your learning. That's all that matters. Like me, I hate learning on paper. I need like a screen. I'd rather learn on a screen than on paper. Paper is boring. It's an unpopular opinion. It's just my opinion. For me, paper is boring. I learn better on a screen. I think it's more functional for me to use a screen, and I can do different features. Like, it's better than writing something because you can type faster than you write in some cases. You don't have to worry about your handwriting being messy. You don't have to worry about those ugly eraser marks or whiteouts or anything. I prefer tech. So if a professor has a problem with that, you can probably use it for a different class, or maybe you can talk to the professor and say, hey, this is how I better learn. This is how I best learn. Can we work something out to make me learn the best way? So that's how it is for this section of like tablets and laptops and that kind of thing. And as I said, if you want to get a laptop, I don't recommend a Chromebook for laptops. You are going to see some classes where you need certain softwares that you got to pay for, and Chromebooks are not really compatible with many things. When I mentioned the digital textbooks, there are websites that you can use on your laptops for those textbooks. I just think it'll be more functional with an iPad, especially for a mini because it's so lightweight. But I wouldn't recommend a Chromebook for anything, honestly. And Samsung laptops, only if they have good specs. I'm thinking more of like an HP type of laptop or something like that if you can't get an Apple laptop, because an HP laptop is fine, and it is much more cost effective than an Apple MacBook. So you want to keep that in mind. If you are someone who uses a desktop in your dorm room, that's your preference, whether you have a Mac desktop or a PC tower, gaming PC. If you're one of those who like to play gaming PCs and you want to use it for school, I can't speak on gaming PCs. I don't know anything about them. I don't have one myself. I don't PC game. I have a Mac Mini, as you may know from this channel, and it's the M1 Mac Mini, so it's not as powerful, but it has been getting the job done for the past year and a half, however long I've had it. So if you're someone who wants to use a desktop, the Mac Mini, at least the one I have, was only like $600 when I bought it. So it's probably cheaper now if you can find it, or you can get one of the newer ones if you can afford that option. But moving on from there, you might want a new cell phone if you have an upgrade, or if you can afford a cell phone. This one is not so much as a budget option unless you're someone like me who has, if you have an upgrade and you do a device payment. New iPhones are going to release early September to middle September, and I think the newest Samsung is out already, and Pixel is releasing a new phone. You don't want to pull out a busted old phone when you're trying to, holla at somebody and get their numbers and everything. That's how old I am. I say holla at somebody, but you don't want a busted old cell phone. You want something that's, they're gonna get their attention. I used to be all Android, if you didn't know that by now about me. Now I'm all iPhone, and it's a joke that I have where if someone pulls out an Android or a really old iPhone, I'm like, yeah, I'm not talking to you. Like, just a bougie joke that I have. But like I said, new iPhones are releasing in September, most likely the iPhone 14. And new Samsungs are out, new Pixels are coming out. So, maybe if you have the device payment available to you, if you're someone who does that like I am, get a new phone, just so you have something that's gonna stay with you, functioning for the next year or 2 years. And these phones will last another 3 years at maximum, roughly. So that can get you through most of your college life, if you go with that option. Now, when it comes to studying, you probably want to have that alone space where no one's bothering you, no one is really in your way when you're trying to study. So you want to get some headphones. The only earbuds I could recommend in terms of my personal use are AirPods. I have AirPods Pro and the 3rd gen AirPods. Now you have different things for each of these devices. The 3rd gen will have much longer battery life of use, about 6 hours of use, where these are about 4 hours of use. But these do have active noise canceling, as well as I can't remember the other mode that it has. It's the one that lets you hear things around you. I can't remember what it's called because I don't use it, but the important thing people want these headphones for, or any kind of headphones, is noise canceling, and the Pros do have noise canceling. Aside from that, I think they both do have spatial audio, so you'll be very immersed in your music when you are using these devices. Now, in terms of other earbuds, I have used Samsung Galaxy Buds in the past. I've used the 1st gen, which I still have right here, surprisingly, and I have used the 2nd gen as well. The 2nd gen did have a longer battery life, probably the longest of any of the Samsung ones. They had about 12 hours of battery life before charge. Realistically, it's like 7 to 10 hours. But there was a problem when it came to pausing your music and some other audio delays with the 2nd gen. I don't know how the newer Samsungs are comparing with the earbuds, so you might want to take a look at some reviews for Samsung earbuds to see what else is out there. Anker also makes earbuds that are apparently pretty good. I think Skullcandy is in the market. There's a lot of different options for earbuds, and if you are looking for the budget option, you might want to go with the Anker or the Skullcandy ones. And I think the Samsung ones might be a bit cheaper than the Apple ones. I can't confirm, and you definitely don't want to be someone who buys the $550 over-the-ear headphones like from Apple or from Sony, unless you have the money for it and you want that experience that comes with it. I think you can get the job done with just a simple pair of earbuds. And like I said, I recommend the Apple ones for if you're an Apple user. I know this sounds like a Apple user only video. It's just the way it is. I don't have the money to buy every piece of tech to review, so I can't really review Android products like I used to. But for the most part, like I said, there are earbud options out there that you can try for the budget student. Moving on is, in most colleges, especially ones where you do go away and you live on campus, they will have a fitness center for you to use. Not everyone uses them, but you probably want to get some kind of fitness watch like a Fitbit, or if you have a Samsung, you get a Galaxy Watch. Apple, get an Apple Watch, so that you have that ability for your tracking of your fitness, whether it's your movements or the cardios you want to burn. And if you have the Apple Fitness subscription, you can do your exercises with that, and when you're at the gym. So it'd be good to have that for you to use while you're trying to work out. Now, I have the Apple Watch SE, which is the cheapest budget Apple Watch compared to the 7, and I'm pretty sure the 8 will be releasing this year as well. And there'll probably be a newer SE that's going to be the budget option as well. I do have to charge this watch pretty much every night before I go to bed. Not that it's low, it's probably at that point around 60 to 50%, roughly around that range. I like to keep it charged as much as I can. So that is what you're trading off with the budget model. You're also losing one of the features. I don't remember exactly what feature it was. I think it was like one of the heart rate features, which I didn't really need. I didn't really care for it. And you don't get the full keyboard to type. You have to swipe or speak to it. So that's something you gotta keep in mind for the budget as well. Now, with the Apple Watch, or maybe Samsung could do it too, I don't know exactly, and Pixel is releasing a watch as well. But I can confirm you can do this with Apple Watch, but I'm not recommending that you do. It's not me condoning that you do this in your classes. Just keep in mind that you can technically do this if you can get away with it. Now, again, I'm not condoning this in any way, but if you have Google Keep Notes on your phone and Google Keep Notes on your Apple Watch, which for some reason they don't have regular notes on their Apple Watch, which is, it's kind of stupid, but your notes will sync between your phone and your watch. So if you're taking an exam and you are struggling and you didn't really study like you're supposed to, not condoning it, just saying if you're one of those who want to do it, that's your risk. I don't think a professor has the right to tell you to take your watch off. Just keep in mind when you're using it, if that's what you're trying to do. Okay? Keep that in mind. So going on from there, I don't think there's anything else I can talk about here for budget tech that you could use. They do make those glasses with the camera on it. I don't see a point for you to use that in college. Any other like appliances, like a desk fan, you might want to use. I have a desk fan over here. You can get those for like $5 in most places, $10, Amazon. It's gonna, like when I was in college, the freshman dorm didn't really have an AC system, so in the warmer weathers, it would be hot in that building. So you might want to get some kind of fan or cooling system to help you sleep and survive those hot weathers, especially if you're in a hot state. Like I'm currently in North Carolina, so if you're a college student out here and they don't have AC for whatever reason, but again, I went to school many years ago, so other than that, if you're in a dorm, you might want a mini fridge. I can say from experience, people will buy like 3 mini fridges per dorm and they don't all fit, and then they'll have to like have someone take one home and then they share another one. So you typically would meet or speak to your roommates before you move in. Maybe want to work that out with them. Hey, who's gonna get a mini fridge? You want to chip in for a mini fridge for the time being. That way we don't have to do a power outage and we don't have to worry about 3 fridges in the room. So you might want to get a mini fridge. You can get one for like $100 or so. I got mine for like $100. Or you could buy the Xbox mini fridge. They do sell that for I think around $200 or so, something like that. So that's another option for budget tech. Gaming, I can't really recommend gaming consoles as a budget option, especially with the Xbox being $500 and the PS5 being both over $500 and almost impossible to get. A Nintendo Switch, if you don't have one, you know, $300 give or take, unless you get the OLED, which is $350, and you can get some games on there if you want to play with your roommates and you know you have a TV. I'm sure one of you guys will have a TV anyway. But not really something I would recommend in terms of like a budget option. I know that the iPads are the expensive side and the Apple Watch, whatever. So I'm just trying to find what's best for the student to be able to get their work done, but also enjoy their time in college. So like I said, the fitness watches for your fitness and everything, your phone, so you can actually be able to communicate with people and use apps that are updated, and you know, when you're trying to, you know, holla or whatever, you got the details, you know. I think mostly it's for tablet use and laptop use, just to get the learning aspect for your note taking and your studying. Even with an iPad, and I keep saying the iPad because I love my iPad, but you know, as compared to like a laptop, you can draw on it and you can take notes on with your pencil on, like, maybe you have a PowerPoint on your saved to your laptop or to your iPad. Sorry, a PowerPoint saved to your tablet from the professor. You can sketch some notes on it. You know, that's something that you can do. A lot of science majors, like health majors, they do have a lot of PowerPoint printouts that they make you use and write notes on a lot, and a lot of students do tend to use those. So, you know, let's save paper and start using the digital world. It's 2022. You'll be going into fall 2022, spring 2023. So let's start using this digital stuff. I don't recommend like a HomePod, like a Google Home or an Apple Home. Only because a lot of these dorms and apartments on campus do have quiet hours, and you don't want to be the jackass who plays loud music, or your assistant is very loud and interrupting everyone's sleep. I had a roommate who had one of the Amazon ones, and it was his alarm for the morning. It was like the loudest thing, and he was in another room, and it was just like, bro, it's annoying. Like, turn that shit off. But like I said, you don't want to be that guy to do it. Any type of like last minute suggestions, maybe some lighting, like I have these lights here on my monitor, I have some more on my TV, you know, some kind of like lighting system to make, you know, give you a bit of a energy change, a bit of an ambiance change. Maybe you have light bulbs that do change color, something like that. The problem with the light bulbs, however, is in some colleges there may be an issue connecting it to the college Wi-Fi for it to work as it should. So make sure you buy those from Best Buy or Amazon so you can get a return if it doesn't work, okay? That's the best recommendation I have for you guys. Moving on from there, I guess the final notes would be Ethernet cables. Some colleges do allow you to have Ethernet cables you can plug into a source. It'd be much secure than using the Wi-Fi. So Ethernet cables are cheap, depending on how long you're gonna have them, the cable for. Or if you're like me at the time, you might know someone on campus who can make you an Ethernet cable and not charge you anything. I've had quite a few of them made for me throughout my time. And you also don't want to be the guy who has this kind of cable. Let me show you. You don't want to have something like this, because this is just ridiculous. This is not going to do anything for you. But that's my video for today. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. And if you have any recommendations of items you want me to check out, something you want me to research for you guys, and hopefully do an unboxing, just let me know in the comments. It does take me a while to get back to you guys because I'm no longer getting notified of my comments, and occasionally I will get a lot of comments on certain videos and it'll just be hard to keep up. But let me know in the comments. I'm going to do my best to get back into the comments and check in with you guys. I'm going to do my best to try to keep this channel up and going. It's just been busy and hard with work and everything else going on, but we're trying. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for supporting me so far. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Oh, one more thing before I forget. You probably want to get a USB flash drive for your use. You don't want to save all your documents on your device in case your device gets broken or stolen or something. You want to make sure you back up your essays and your assignments into a flash drive. This one is from SanDisk. It's a 128 gigabyte. I think I paid around 20 bucks for it. And this has the standard USB, and it flips around for a USB-C option as well, which, you know, you can plug it into certain devices that have USB-C. I can actually plug this into my iPad, both iPads actually, and save some data from there and then transfer it to my computer or something like that. So this will kind of go hand in hand with these iPads, assuming you get one that has USB-C. I think one of the iPads is Lightning, and the rest are USB-C. So something to keep in mind. This 128, like I said, was around $20. I think the 256 was about $30. If you need more space, but if you're just doing like documents and homework, you really don't need all that space. You can probably get away with the 64 gigabyte option for that term. But yeah, just the last minute one I wanted to add on to it that I forgot to add on, and yeah,